Hey folks, JJ Reynolds here with Vision Labs. We're going to hop into exactly how you should be tracking your HighLevel sub account. So we're going to start with method 1, which is web only via GTM. We're then going to method 2, the hybrid, which is what most people tell you to do on the internet when you Google conversions API or any of the more technical stuff when you start to realize there are other methodologies to do things. And then there's the Rockstar Method 3, which you probably should do. There is a little bit of a cost involved, but it is probably going to save you a lot of money. So let's dive into it with method 1, web only. As we do that, I want to define exactly what we're trying to achieve. So here is our little user. This is you, little Susan, Sally, Smith, and you go to the website, right? You click on an ad, you go to Facebook, you're like browsing through Facebook, you're having a good old time, you click on an ad, you go to the web page. Boom. You should see URL parameters that say Facebook as the source, the medium, and then there should be a click ID. So FBCLID equals some random string of numbers, just a bunch of letters, numbers, etc. The goal is that as you go through from web page 1 to 2 to 3, right, you're navigating around the site, you're seeing all the goodies, you watch the video, you go to the next page, you have a good time on a website, and then you go and submit a form, right? What we are trying to do, right, the reason behind tracking in general is you can send these events back to Facebook. Let's just use Facebook here for the sake of our simplicity. So we want to send this page view back to Facebook. We also want to send this form submission, you guessed it, back to Facebook. That is what we're trying to achieve. How do we do that? Most people will recommend using Google Tag Manager. That's what we probably are going to do. I'm going to show you how to do that first. Then you have the next problem, which is how do you handle when there's a form submitted, then an interview, then the deal is closed, right? So you have something like that. How do you handle that? So let's just hop into HighLevel. Boom, here we are. We are in HighLevel. If you've not seen this, I'm sorry, you had a good time. Now we should get into the real juice of things. So here we are in HighLevel. Yours might look slightly different depending on whether you're a sub account or other account, but the general vibe is there. What we're going to do is we're going to hop on this left side into sites. The first thing we want to figure out is how do you place Google Tag Manager? That is a very common question. GoHighLevel does not make it simple. So you have multiple ways. You got funnels, we have website, we have stores, we have webinars. The 4 core ones, it is very similar. So on the websites, this is the easiest one because usually you have one website unless you create other websites for like help docs and things like that. But it's the same process. You hippity hop in here, you click into it, you then go to settings, and this is where you can place your head and body tracking for Google Tag Manager. You just simply paste that in. It is now put on every page of the marketing site. But JJ, what about other things? I have funnels. Great question. How HighLevel works is that funnels and websites are different. They're not the same thing. So how does that work? You hop into funnels, and this is where things start to get complex and you will lose things over time, I promise, is that every funnel, you must do the same thing. So if I come into websites, I'll show you this first. Let's just do it for the sake of simplicity. Settings, I'm going to put like a little script here of script, hi, script. All right. So there, imagine this is our GTM script. I'll just put it like this. GTM script goes here. All right, we want to make sure you save. And once you save, you should be good to go. There we go, back to settings, it's saved, there we are. Then when you hop into funnels, so say you have an amazing affiliate marketing offer that you are just pumped to see what's happening, you have to click into that, and this funnel, you go to settings, you have to put your head and body tracking there. So that's the first tip, right? All you're gonna do is put GTM on the page, and then you can track the entire site, the entire funnel. That's what this is. Just put Google Tag Manager on the page and you can put your tracking scripts in Google Tag Manager. That is the simple way to do it. It will get you the basics out of the gate. That's it. Should you do this? Probably not. If you're watching this video, I would recommend not to do this, but you now know how to do that. Now we have the second option, right? Here's how things get more complicated. is you have people going to a website and then they purchase something, right? And then there's a draft and then there's a success. So these other events you don't actually know in the browser if it happens. You have no concept of that. It doesn't even exist to the browser. So how do you do that? Well, HighLevel has a lot of these features built right in. So we're going to hop into automations, and you can just create a new automation. I'm going to hop into this workflow right here just because I don't want to create a million automations for you. But here is the idea. So what you can say is we're going to trigger this when a contact status changes, or when a purchase event happens, or when a task creates. You have your system. There's a million ways to do this. It is one of the best parts of HighLevel is we could say when there's a lead created. Let's just do that. So when a lead created, right? Hit save trigger, bam, a lead has been created. Then we want to tell Facebook. So what they have is the conversions API. So if you type in Facebook, conversions API, let's just type in Facebook, you see here all the Facebook built-in actions. So what we want to do is hit conversions API, and now we can do all of this kind of setup. So what we can do is basically hack the entire system to say, now we're going to send an event via an automation to Facebook and Meta, and we're going to send them a conversions API, the CAPI events right here. The access token, pixel ID, and then the event name here, which you can choose from all the different drop downs of do you want to have a contact or add to cart. You can choose what they should be. This is, and you can also assign a value. Pros and cons of this, folks. Pros is it is really customizable. You can have a bunch of automations for every different deal stage, for every different system, and you can send those events via the conversion API with no other tools, right? Just whenever this event happens, whenever a lead is created, we send a lead event. The problem of this is that as you build a business, you're going to have more and more entry points. You have more leads, more deal stages, more pipelines, and you're going to have a lot of automations. Like you're just going to have dozens and dozens of automations. And that's where it can get complicated to maintain over time, because you can also map in that click ID. Remember, back to here, we talked about having this click ID, which is very important to send that data back into Facebook. So it knows this lead converted to purchase, converted to buy. The other problem with those automations is that purchases can sometimes fail and they go into draft mode before they succeed. And so there's no real waiting time. It's a very complex system to handle all the edge cases that you have. But now, if you combine them together, you get the hybrid approach, right? You put Google Tag Manager on the page with your GoHighLevel, with your Facebook pixel, your Google Analytics pixel, whatever pixels you want to put, you now have them there. You then use GoHighLevel's actual API, conversions API built into automations to send events when you want them. You just have to say, hey, when a lead happens, when a form submitted, when a lead happens, we now sent over the data. Okay. And you can do this for every step, right? If a form submits, an interview happens, the deal is closed, each of these could be its own automation, or you build it more dynamically where you say, have a variable for each of the stages, and whenever the pipeline stage does change, you now have that. Just FYI on this, there is a paid tier after a certain point where you do have to start paying for automations once you past a certain threshold. So if you have a high volume site, just watch out for that. Okay, now the third option here, which is the Rockstar approach, which is using an app to connect your HighLevel instance to Meta, Facebook, etc. But JJ, how do we do that? Let me show you. So we're going to use something called Hello Conversions, which is a shameless plug. It's something that our team built over at Vision Labs. And I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. So all you have to do to set up is that you connect into your account, hit setup. This is exactly how you get dropped into it. No problemo. When you want to set up, all you have to do is hit add a new destination. You put your pixel ID, the access token, the website URL, and then we can say, hey, do you want to track invoices as purchases? Are you in the health and wellness space? If so, check this and we'll make sure you're compliant with that. And you can track orders below this amount. So say, for example, you have a high ticket offer and you don't want to send those back. I want to only send those. So here is our new pixel. I'm going to go 123 ABC. Our access token, 123 LMNOP. Website URL is website.com. All right, we are sending meta ads. We have all these different examples of different destinations, but you get the idea. So add new destination. We are now sending this to 3 different ones at once. It's pretty awesome. So automatically you pull in all the stages. So here are all the different types of stages, etc., that are happening. And let me show you exactly what you should be doing on your end. So if we head back out, let's confirm, bada bing, bada boom, opportunities. Okay, so this is what your HighLevel, you probably have deals, right? New leads, hot lead, booked call. You've got all these different pipeline stages. You get the idea. How Hello Conversions works is it pulls in every single one of your pipeline stages and every single one of your deals. So you can have a lot of these different automation pipelines with every single one, and then you can turn them off and say, hey, I don't want to send an event to Meta for a hot lead. I just want to send for a new lead, and I'm going to custom code and say a new lead is worth $20 to us. A booked call is worth $50. A call completed is worth $100. And proposal sent is worth $500. And proposal signed is worth $1,000, etc., etc. So now you can kind of put this together where you are now sending these events. Pretty sweet, right? So let me show you how this works. So if we go, hey, here, this guy Stockton, don't know who he is. He then booked a call, whether it's your automation or something else. How do you know if it was sent to Facebook? That is the question that most people ask themselves when they send things up. I think I'm sending it right. I can use a little pixel detector up here to figure out using a data layer push, all that stuff. It's complicated. But we built in a log here. So you can just go to logs, and all you'll see here is you can say 15 minutes ago, let's hit refresh. Let's see if it doesn't want to load in. I might have just blocked the one. I think I blocked the booked call. Let's just see. So if we move this back and forth, every single time that a deal changes, right, of the value of that deal, it will then be sent this direction. So let me just refresh here. And we can see all the pipeline stages at once. Sometimes it takes a second. There we go. So here we go. All of these different stages have just come in, right, 7 seconds ago. And what you can see is exactly how the data came in. So we can, if we hit view, this is all of the data that has come in about this person. And we have sent as much as we possibly can on to Facebook wherever possible. That is the beauty of this entire system, is that you can say, hey, this person came in direct none. We don't know how they came. They're worth $100. We sent this call complete stage, and this is the data that has been sent onwards. That is the Rockstar method. The reason being is that what we've done here is we've basically taken out all the human error of things, and your website, right? So this page here, all of this is done automatically. So you know how to do it now, the basic way, via GTM. You know how to do this via the hybrid method, which is the most common out there, of where you use the actions as well as GTM on the page. And you also know how to use the Rockstar method, which is where you use Hello Conversions to then send those events on your behalf. And so that way it handles all these pipeline stages and everything else. So you don't have to set it all up manually using workflow automations or other methods. So those are the 3 different ways you can do that. You can use the automations, you can use GTM on the page, or you can use an app like Hello Conversions to send it all for you. If you have any questions at all, leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer your questions around this. And you can go deeper into any combination of these hybrids, or if you want to do something very, very niche, you can always customize that using those automations.
Thank you so much, JJ. That was really insightful. I know so many people in our audience and everyone out there is really looking forward to seeing other options besides just GA4. And this was really helpful to kind of see what else is out there. And so we'll see you next time on the next workshop.